So yes, my first recording was with, I was playing in a group called the Hieroglyphics Ensemble with Peter Affelbaum, and it was a 16-piece group, and he got a commission to do a piece with Don Cherry, and we were all big fans, of course, of Ornette Coleman and Don Cherry, and he came to San Francisco, and we did a concert, and he ended up loving San Francisco so much he moved out there, and so we worked with him a lot, and we actually did some European festivals with him as well in the early 90s, I guess it was. So the first recording we did was one of his last records, Multi-Culti, which has a lot of different styles or different types of ensembles on it, but we had a big band ensemble that we did with him, and he was as you know, an incredible guy and just really free. He's like one of the most free people I've ever met, you know. Just yeah. In fact, his mind would just kind of go from one thing to the other all the time, and
maybe because he was a pothead.
Maybe. I think it was in his nature too. Just he was just interested in everything, you know. One minute he'd be talking about music in Mali, and then he'd be talking about Switzerland, or you know. He was really just interested in life and everything, and he brought his spirit to us, which was fantastic, you know.
Did it affect?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play with him a whole lot, but he was, yeah, definitely was you know, when you meet these kind of major figures that have influenced you over your life, and you know, since then there's been, you know, dozens of them that have, you know, people I've finally got to play with that I've, you know, been my heroes, and it's always a big like a
heard tonight, it was something between, for me, I don't know how you take it, this kind of power trio or jam band. How do you call it, by the way? Power trio or jam band?
I don't like to call it anything, but when you're most of us musicians don't really want to call our music anything in particular. It's other people that end up calling it something, So.
Journalists like me,
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like to bring some real, just kind of basic rock and real just dirty kind of funk and rock kind of thing to it, but then also have a kind of sophistication that we can draw on, different, so we can work on different levels.
Is it a New York style thing, or you just play whatever you want, or
Well,
it has
I'm
something
originally
to do
from
with New York?
I'm from California, and I've only lived in New York for about 4 years now. So, but of course, I've been influenced by New York music my whole life. But I think for me, it's there's. I wouldn't say it's New York music for sure. I mean, a drummer is from New Orleans, and I played a lot with New Orleans musicians in the last 10 years with Stanton Moore and Donald Harrison, and I did a concert with Dr. John last year, and so New Orleans is a big influence on me, and I think growing up in California, I'm pretty influenced by the whole '60s rock California, San Francisco sound,
But it also has something to do with Stax, so-called Stax sound.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You made last two songs like Booker T and the MGs,
Yeah, Booker T, and of course the Meters are a big influence. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those records still sound like the best records, and they were so simply done, and so soulful and groovy. Yeah.
What's in your
Lately I've been getting to play with all these people that the Meters guys, George Porter Jr. and Zigaboo Modeliste and Leo Nocentelli, and then the James Brown guys I got to play with recent, Maceo and Fred Wesley and
Maceo Parker?
Pee Wee Ellis, and So these are the kind of people that influenced me and that are still around. And yeah, it's great.
What is in your iPod
iPod.
or CD player lately?
Yeah.
Like top 5 CDs.
Wow.
or so.
I have in my. I have 36 days worth of music on my. Let's see. What have I been listening to lately?
Okay, do you listen to music as a pro, as a professional musician, or as a listener?
I think most of the time it is kind of professional. Like I'm picking something apart and learning something. But well, I've been really mostly I've been going back and listening to jazz, like straight ahead jazz these days.
What do you mean by straight ahead jazz? Because well, you played one song like
Yeah, I know.
straight ahead jazz, like 40s, like the 40s or something like this. Like
Well, that's a song, but the
Wild
'60s
Bill,
song.
What the name? Wild Bill.
Oh, the last song you mean? Or
No. The Duke.
Duke Ellington. Yeah, that's from the '60s. That's a.
But it sounded like it was like the 40s. You know?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm all over the map. I mean, I played in a French musette band for 7 years and played Charles Trenet and Maurice Chevalier and Miss Tanguette. And I've also played klezmer music and Armenian music. And
Armenian even.
yeah, used to be in an Armenian wedding band. And, I play in a reggae. I'm touring with a reggae band this summer. So yeah, I'm pretty all over the map.
Maybe the main question is you don't try to impress anybody with your techniques. You just
Yeah.
you just play it
Yeah,
the way it goes.
that's been kind of my part of my style. I think is I try to be more lyrical. I like to be lyrical and rhythmic with my playing. Like sometimes I'll do guitar solos that are more of a rhythm solo than a fast note solo. 'Cause I don't think the world needs more fast notes. There's enough notes. But, Um, well, there's so many.
Like,
but
for,
it's,
for me, it sounded a little bit like Mark Ribot.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
yeah, I love Mark Rubio. Yeah, we're playing with him at Croatia. A few days from now,
Oh, really?
he's playing solo and we're playing trio. But that's the honor that somebody says I sound like Mark Ribot. 'Cause most of the time people say I sound like John Scofield or something, but I try not to sound like John Scofield because I'm sort of in a similar, with like organ, it's kind of similar thing to him. So I try not, whatever to do, not to sound like him. But
actually, this kind of trio with Hammond, is like Scofield, Mineski, Martin, and Wood.
yeah.
So most of people take it like.
Yeah, my first record actually came out the same time as that record on the same label. On
Wire.
yeah, when A Go-Go came out, my first record, Medicine Hat, came out a couple months after that. The same producer, and of course it didn't sell quite as many copies, but yeah, I love the organ and guitar sound. It's just really great the way it blends, I think.
Organ is actually you can resist its sound because it's so this Hammond sound is like it comes to your spine.
Yeah, it's wonderful. But it's kind of like the Hammond has this big kind of watery sound, and then the guitar is very pointillistic, kind of in the middle, so it really works well. So it doesn't clash. It's fills up different frequencies. So. So often I say, I've been saying lately my top three are probably Wes Montgomery, Jimi Hendrix, and Django Reinhardt.
Why Jimi Hendrix? I mean, he's my hero too, but and I'm lefty also.
Yeah.
So, but why Jimi Hendrix?
Well, he was really the guy who made me want to play guitar. I mean, that was my first hero, guitar hero, really. So he's pretty much in everything I play, you know, I think.
Not talking about guitarists, about maybe writers, film directors, whatever, trombonists. Who else made you
Yeah.
the way you are?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Well, yeah, just to throw another curveball, I was, like when I was in high school, I was very interested in, I was interested in mainstream jazz, and I got quickly into avant-garde jazz, and I was into Art Ensemble of Chicago and Anthony Braxton and Oliver Lake and Derek Bailey and all this. This was what I was into, and then from that I went into classical music and got into Charles Ives and Xenakis and all this stuff. So, but at that time I was reading a lot of books like Jack Kerouac and stuff like this. And,
He's my boy.
Burroughs and all that stuff. So I think, and I was really into Captain Beefheart too. So I was.
Oh really? He died last year or this year?
Yeah, he did. So I was there's this sort of Dada kind of element that I think it may be not in the forefront, but it's always there in how I think about music, So I like a lot of that kind of painting too, like expressionist painting and more, like Kandinsky and that kind of era, not quite as abstract as, I like Jackson Pollock too, but I like people like Francis Bacon, I like the way he kind of blurs things, kind of smudges things, and I think in music, I like trying to do that, kind of more interested in doing that more. And of course, I like Jim Jarmusch and stuff like that.
Well, it's easy to understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know what you're talking about. I think I have enough.
Okay.
And I think thank you very much
Okay.
for the music
Awesome.
and for the talk.
Beautiful. Thank you.